Okay, cambio de plan. Aquí me quedo. All right. Okay. Okay. Ya es algo confuso. Hay dos diferentes jueces.
All right, so we're here for detention docket for the 323rd District Court. So we're gonna go ahead and start. I'm here for the first two, and then I'll be passing off to Judge Terry to finish up this docket. All right, we're gonna start with Mr. John Ramos. I think Mr. Yanez, you're retained counsel for Ms. Ramos, correct?
Yes, it's Jason Ramos, yes.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so Mr. Ramos, this is a detention hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to make a decision whether to take you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days after to make that same decision. You have the right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you have a right to an attorney. Hired as your attorney. If at some point you are unable to afford an attorney, then we will provide one for you. All right, so Mr. Ramos, looking at your history, you have no history with this department. So you were referred by Fort Worth Police Department saying in May at about 5:30, there's a major accident on Sylvania and Springdale. And so the driver of the first vehicle was in critical condition. He and the female passenger would be taken to JPS Hospital. Jason, the driver of the second vehicle, was transported to the hospital because of an injury. Witness reported that Jason was driving at a high rate of speed before the accident, which forced her to pull to the side and was worried for her safety. She said the first vehicle, Nissan Altima, went to turn onto Sylvania when it was struck by the vehicle being driven by Jason. Jason was speeding and he was in the turning lane. Officers told that the driver of the Altima died from the injuries sustained in the accident. Traffic investigation concluded it was determined that Jason was driving at fault, reckless operation, approximately 70 miles an hour in a 35-mile zone, and Jason does not have a driver's license. Okay. All right. Okay. So I guess, Dad, are you here with Jason? Is that correct?
Señor, ¿está aquí? ¿Usted es papá de Jason?
Yes.
Sí, yes.
All right. So I guess the question is, whose Mustang was it?
¿De quién es el Mustang?
Oh, mío.
Mine.
All right. Did your son have permission to drive the Mustang?
¿Su hijo tuvo permiso para manejar el Mustang?
No.
No.
No, porque estaba trabajando.
I was at work.
All right, so these are really, it's kind of a question for Dad. Tell me about Jason. How did he do in school?
Señor, dígame algo sobre Jason. ¿Cómo va en escuela?
Muy bien.
Very good. Everything's
Nunca
good.
había tenido problemas con él, nunca.
We've never had problems with him. Never.
Nada, no salió ese problema.
Nothing until this problem.
Okay. What's very good? Is A's good or B's good? C's good? What is very good?
Cuando dice que muy bien, como de calificaciones de A, B, C, como
Muy bien, nunca tenía problemas.
very good. I've not had problems. Do you want me to rephrase that question, Judge?
Yeah, I'm wondering what the school, like what is good in school for him?
Okay. ¿Qué calificaciones saca en la escuela?
¿Y cuál más tú? B6.
Okay. Like B's and C's.
Okay.
That came from-
Yes.
I spoke to Jason. He told me that he did well in school. He told me he was taking some pre-EP classes, and he's also been playing soccer the majority of his life. He said he's been in varsity since freshman year, but of course now he's not able to play right now because of he has an injury on his leg.
Judge, he goes to Carter Riverside High School. He'll start junior year And he's 16. He's on track. He's right where he should be. He's been living in this area for like 2.5 years. He grew up in Richmond. That's where his family's from, where his father's family's from. And I talked to them about his background there with, any interaction with law enforcement or any problems in school, no problems. He's been a good kid. And then in this event, I mean, I know we're not, I've explained to them, but we're not having a trial about that this morning. But as far as how the accident occurred, I'll just point out that there's a causation issue. I mean, that the driver of the other car who died, he had a stop sign that he failed to yield at. And so, this is something that ultimately, as far as what the facts are, I think there'll be a battle about that later on.
I'm not worried about that. This is not his trial. This is about whether it's safe, danger to community to release or not.
Right.
So, Dad, how do we keep Jason from driving in the future while this case is going on?
You want me to ask his father that?
Yes, if you could.
All right. Señor, ¿cómo podríamos prevenir que Jason maneje mientras este caso queda pendiente? ¿Qué podría hacer para asegurar eso?
Ya no, quitarle las llaves, llevármelas al trabajo.
I can just keep the keys away. I can take them with me to work.
Is there anybody at home to supervise him?
¿Hay alguien en la casa para supervisarlo?
Su mamá.
Or his mother?
Has he ever run away from home?
Él ha salido de la casa sin permiso por rato extendido?
No, nunca tenía problema.
No, he's never had that kind of problem.
Break curfew? Does he sneak out at night?
Él llega a casa cuando debe o él sale cuando no debe?
No, llega cuando yo le digo, llega temprano, nunca llega tarde.
But when I tell him, he shows up when he's supposed to. He doesn't show up late.
Ms. Guerrero, did the offense report talk about them doing a blood test or anything for possible intoxication?
No, sir. It does not.
Judge, we actually obtained an accident report, and there's no mention of any alcohol or drugs at all. Right. This isn't an event that involved any event.
I mean, there's just, from what I can gather, it just looks like an accident.
Exactly. This is something that it could be just a civil matter.
Sure, but it's also a reason why why one should not drive 70 and 35 too. All right, Jason. So I'm looking at this. What I have to consider is whether you're going to appear to court or not. I believe you live right down the street from here, so I'm not worried about you appearing in court. I don't necessarily think that you're a danger to yourself, to others. Hopefully, from what it seems like to me, this was just an accident. I'm very concerned because there was a loss of life. And I'm sure you and your parents and everyone else is concerned as well. But my decisions aren't based on the results. My decisions are based on, by law, they have to be based on whether you're going to be on these factors, including whether you're a danger. I just don't see that there's anything to indicate that you would be actual danger to the community. Mostly a lot of it is based on your history, that you haven't been in trouble before and that you're doing well in school. So I'm going to go ahead and order your release. The case, that doesn't mean the case is gone. You still have to resolve everything to your attorney, but just while the case is pending, I'm not going to keep you here in our facility, okay? All right, now you make sure that you understand, if I find out that you're sneaking out of the house, you're running away, you're breaking curfew, smoking weed, taking the car on your own, things like that, I will bring you here and keep you here in our facility. You have to follow the rules at home. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Jason. All right, next, Heaven Garcia. All right, Mr. Garcia, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm here to make a decision whether to keep you in custody or to release you. You have the right to an attorney. I think Mr. Adler was previously appointed as your attorney. You also have a right to remain silent. And if you give up that right, nothing you say at a detention hearing can be used against you at any other type of court setting. All right, so I know your name. You've got pending cases, serious pending cases. that started in March. And so we let you out, but then the police, they were dispatched yesterday for domestic disturbance. When they got there, they talked to Maria Ramirez, the mother. She said she was folding clothes in your room when you came in and kept messing up the clothes. He told you to stop, said that Heaven got upset and began punching him with a closed fist. All right, so Mr. Dotson, I'm kind of confused. So say Maria Ramirez, who's Heaven's mother and the victim.
Yeah, she's the mother of Heaven and the victim, his younger brother.
Okay, but I'm seeing here the victim indicated that he was folding clothes in his room.
Younger brother.
Okay, so a different victim. The younger brother was folding clothes. When came in, kept on messing up the younger brother's clothes. The brother told him to stop, and he said that Heaven got upset and began punching him in the head. He got dizzy, so the mom called MedStar. He was treated, released back to mom. Officers observed swelling, the forehead and the right ear. So he was brought over here. Okay, and the pending case involves the 11-year-old victim. For the pending case, Mr. Dawson, is that a relative or non-relative?
Non-relative.
Male or female?
Male.
Male, okay. And we gave him a drug test and he tested positive. So, Heaven, you're looking at a serious determined sentence eligible offense. And evidently you're smoking weed and think, well, your brother says that, and your mom is saying that you think it's okay to punch your brother and beat him up. Mr. Adler, am I missing something here?
No, Your Honor. We're the serious charge we are contesting, so we were going to be set for a trial, but because of COVID, I think things are getting pushed back. I will be upfront with the court. He does have a history of mental illness. Mom has tried to get that under control. She has it under control at times, and at times, clearly, it's not working.
Is fitness going to be an issue?
No, he's not. His IQ is okay. He just has other mental illness needs, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Let me know if there needs to be any kind of evaluations or anything. Happy
Yes,
to
sir.
order that, especially if we're looking at trial, that's just how serious the offense is.
Yes, sir.
But otherwise, yeah, Heaven, here's the thing. I mean, there's a clear expectation of what's needed of you. And I don't understand. It's like you just don't even care what I think. You don't care what the court thinks. You're just going to do what you're going to do. If you do that, I can't release you back to the community. What you have to realize is that at a certain point, there has to be a decision made. If, in fact, that you committed the felonies, the thing that you did, then there has to be a decision made whether you can be released in the community for probation or you have to be sent to TJJD. Right? You know what TJJD is?
TYC?
I'm sorry?
TYC or something?
Yeah,
like
it used to be
that?
called TYC, but it's prison for kids. You have to understand that's an option in your case. So yeah, everything that you do is going to be scrutinized. Do you know what scrutinized means? And scrutinized means everyone's going to look very carefully and try to find a reason to fault you. Okay? So, like, honestly, you have to be on your best behavior. You have to do everything perfect because even the smallest flaw will be pointed out. The DA's office will do that. Okay. So I'm going to detain you. I'm going to watch your detention levels. I'm not saying you have to stay here, but my concern is the first offense is against a stranger, now against a family member. And I remember when I released you, a lot of it was because the victim was not a family member. So your brother has a right to live his life without being beat up. He has a right to live his life, be able to fold his laundry without somebody messing it up. Okay? You can't interfere with other people's lives.
That's all.
I don't want you to talk about the case, okay? Because because the DA's here listening, you might see that name, Mark Richmond. He's the district attorney. I don't know if he's on your case or a different case, but he's listening to you. So if you say something, you might actually put yourself in a spot and make your job and Mr. Frank Adler's job much harder, okay? So don't talk about anything about the assault, but if you want to talk about something else, I'll listen to you.
She's lying.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to cut you off. I'm not trying to be rude, but that's a conversation you have with Mr. Adler. Okay. Because right now, this is not your trial. I'm not going to make a decision whether you did this or not. This is not the time for that. This is simply about detention. And I have to assume what your brother and your mother said is true in making this decision. Okay. All right. So at this point, you're being detained. Get your behavior level up. Give yourself a chance to get out again. All right. So thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Your Honor, I want to say
Thanks,
something.
Judge.
Yes.
He's not under his medication since he was on Millwood Hospital because he don't take the medication for a long time. So he needs the medication.
Did you bring the medication with you?
He don't have no psychiatric. I tried to reach MHMR, and I don't receive any help because I don't have a car to drive a long way for Arlington. And he has the last psychiatric.
But what has he been diagnosed with?
ADHD and the MDD. It's like dysregulation mood disorder. And he take this pill he can't control his anger.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and order a psychiatric evaluation for him. All right. We'll have our doctor see him here.
Yes.
All right. And see if we can get him on the medication. Do you have his old prescriptions?
I have everything. I have all his paper.
Can you?
My worry, Your Honor, is I don't want the other case mixed with this one because the kid who's put the other charge, he was on my house.
Hold on. Stop.
Yeah.
Please don't talk about the other charge today.
This is not a trial today. All right. So, Mom, get those prescriptions to Mr. Dotson. Okay. And that way he can get that to the doctor coming in. And that way it's a good starting point. So the doctor kind of knows what's going on before he meets with your son. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then call Mr. Adler because it seems like there's important things that he needs to know, but this is not the trial today. All right. This is simply about keeping heaven or releasing him. All right.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and order that evaluation. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Thank you for interrupting, Mr. Adler. So, all right. So at this point, these are the two I'm going to do. I'm going to pass the docket over to Judge Terry, who's going to conclude the detention hearings for today.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge. We should have Gonzalez up next. Are you Nathan Gonzalez?
Hey. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'm Judge Terry. This is your 10-day detention hearing, and the purpose of this hearing today is to determine whether I can release you to a parent or guardian, or if I will need to detain you. Okay, you have the right to remain silent, but if you choose to speak, nothing you say can be held against you at any other kind of proceeding here. I can only consider it for purposes of detention, okay? You also have the right to your attorney, and your attorney is Mr. Shaw. Do you see Mr. Shaw on the Zoom screen? No, Mr. Shaw, I have to ask you to unmute yourself, Mr. Shaw.
Here I am.
Do you see him, Nathan?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and your attorney will let me know if you choose to have your hearing recorded, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You've been here for 15 days, barely 14 years old. You were, let's see, it was on June 21st at approximately 10:27 p.m. An officer from the Fort Worth PD observed a young white male wearing a red shirt and red hat place a silver handgun in his waistband in front of the Breeze Food Mart on Las Vegas Trail. The officer was viewing through the Fort Worth PD cameras mounted in the area of the store. Two other officers arrived at the store to find that you had gone outside, and they located you near the drink coolers in the back of the store. One of the officers ordered you to keep your hands visible while he moved to detain you. A pat down was conducted on the outside for weapons, specifically the area of your front waistband, and that's where a .380 handgun was located. The officer took possession of the handgun and cleared it of the loaded magazine and chamber. They identified you, placed you in handcuffs, and transported you here. got a supervisory caution from last year, and then a petition was dismissed for DPP last year. Actually, this is all like within the last 7 months. Tested negative for all substances, so that's good. Is this mom here?
Yes.
Okay. How long has he been off his medication, Mom?
Probably a couple years.
A couple of years, okay. So from what I'm told on here on his offense report, it indicates that Nathan continues to kind of come and go as he pleases at home. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Are you working outside of the home, or what's going on at home?
Yes, I work.
Okay. Is it just you and your 2 boys there, or is there another adult in the home?
Well, it's 6 kids and then my granddaughter and then Nathan.
Okay. So you're the only adult in the home. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay. What are we supposed to do to prevent him from, so he's got 3 referrals since December still, is that right?
That is correct, Your
Is that
Honor.
right, Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Okay, I can't see where, oh, there you are. Okay. On level 1 outstanding behavior, well, as of today. Ms. Thomas, where was he before today? Since he's been here, what's his behavior level been?
He basically did reach the level 2 at the normal rate and kind of bounced between the 1 outstanding and 1 acceptable. And there was a youth that he was needing to be on do not associate with back at the end of June. And then he again reached his level 2 outstanding at the end of June. And by July 1st, he reached the level 1 outstanding and again has been kind of back and forth between the 1 outstanding and 1 acceptable rating.
Nathan, do you understand why that kind of gives me some pause? Because while you're on level 1 outstanding today, you seem to keep fluctuating back and forth. Your behavior, your good choices are not as consistent as the wrong choices that you're making. Mom, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've been talking to him every day and he said he learned and he's going to be better because he was thinking like he would come here, be here for a day and be out. But now he knows that he has to stay a while. So he's saying he's going to do okay and listen and stay at home.
Right, but then every couple of days he has an infraction. Sounds like a run-in with somebody else here too. Ms. Thomas, what's the longest he's been on level 1 outstanding here? Just this time, this go around.
Probably, I mean, on June 30th to a day is the longest, then he'll bounce back to an acceptable. And now again, he's up to a level 1 outstanding. So he keeps it for maybe a day.
A day. All right, Nathan, here's what I'm going to do, because I know that you know how to make good choices. I know that you just had your evaluation done, which we don't have that back. I'm concerned that, you know, you just hit 14 and you, like, we're getting to know you here. You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't need to be doing this. You need to be getting ready to, you know, have a normal teenage life and become a young man. This is not, that's not going to happen if you keep coming here. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want you to be on level 1 outstanding and stay there until Friday. If you can stay there until Friday, then I'm comfortable releasing you to mom, but I will only release you on a monitor, because I don't have a lot of confidence that you won't just kind of run off. Your mom's already saying you're coming and going as you're pleasing. Okay. But I need some consistent good choices from you here, because then that will tell me Friday if they come see me and say, Judge Terry, he stayed on level 1 outstanding, no problems, you know, then I can trust that I can send you home on a monitor. Okay.
Yes,
Otherwise, you'll just stay here until your next 10-day. Okay. So that's the deal. It's kind of all or nothing. You stay on level 1 outstanding till Friday and you can be released, or else we'll just see you back in 2 weeks. Okay. All right. I want you to keep that up. And then, Mom, when he is released, I need you now, because I'm hoping he will be able to follow the rules until Friday at least, to get him, see if you can get him an appointment with MHMR. Okay.
Okay.
Because if he's supposed to be on medication, he hasn't been on it in a few years. I mean, maybe he can be off of it. I don't know, but he looks like he's indicated he has diagnoses that usually require medication. If it's not being managed without medication, then maybe perhaps that needs to be revisited. Okay.
Okay.
So please make that appointment with MHMR and see if we can get a handle on what's happening with him. Okay. All right. But for now, you're detained. Okay, Nathan? Thank you.
We'll go around this way. Stay on. No,
Hopefully, I don't know if it's worked or not with them, but we'll find out. All right. I think next is Terry Irick.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Your Honor, I'm on Ms. Thomas's laptop.
Oh, okay, that's fine. You could have stayed on your phone. Either way, it works. All right, and there's Ms. Bowers. Okay. Oh, okay.
Just can I ask a quick question? On my client, Christiana Hill, is she still going to be set this morning? Because they had a mediation this morning. It's my understanding then maybe this detention hearing would be reset depending upon the mediation.
Okay, Mary says that mediation was successful and she was released. So
okay, so then
I was told it was removed. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, so Mr. Irick, this is your 10-day detention hearing, and as you know, the purpose of this detention hearing is to determine whether you will remain here in detention or if I can release you to a parent or guardian. All right. Remember that you have the right to remain silent, but if you choose to speak, nothing you say can be held against you at any other kind of proceeding here. I can only consider it for purposes of detaining you. Okay. And you have a right to an attorney, and your attorney is Ms. Bowers. Do you see her on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And all right, let's see. Been here since the beginning of May.
Your Honor, the reason he's been here so long is I filed a motion for fitness to proceed evaluation. They did it. They found that he's not fit to proceed. He's awaiting a bed in Mahia, Texas, to try to get him fit to proceed. And according to Ms. Peters, they are not moving anybody to Mahia at this moment. He's next in line.
Yeah, and I see that was the status of the first. And so let's see here. Well, So Mr. Eric, I don't want to ruin your chances at getting that bed that you really, really need. And again, if we were to release you, that would hurt your chances of getting the bed when they have it come open, okay? Because of the COVID restrictions that they have right now, needing to have people remain in here for kind of a 2-week quarantine before they can be accepted. But if your bed comes up before that and you're not here, then you kind of missed the boat with it, okay?
You think I'll go home if I wanted to?
No, because we really, the placement that you've been on the waiting list for, you're next on the list. And so we need to keep you here to make sure that you get that bed there, okay? If you were to go home, so this isn't about anymore about whether, you know, I'm afraid that you'll run or something like that. Right now it's that there was a proceeding determined right now you're not fit to proceed and we need to get you some help, okay? And so that's what we're doing right now. And so I do need to keep you here and hopefully that bed will be available pretty soon because as your attorney said, you are next on the list, okay? All right, so now we're gonna continue to detain you until that is available. I am concerned with the previous monitor violations that you've had as well. So even if we weren't waiting for that bed, Mr. Irick, I would have concerns there. But right now my goal is to get you some help. And so that's what we're doing. All right.
Okay.
So you're detained pending that. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Me too.
Mr. Killingsworth?
Yes.
And this is you, Mr. Willett. There we go. All right. This is your 10-day detention hearing. I believe we have met before. Purpose of this hearing is to determine whether I should release you or whether I should release you to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent, but if you choose to speak, oh, Mr. Killingsworth, can you back up so I can see your face in the screen, please? Kind of hovering over it, so back up just a little bit. I don't know if you're tall or what's going on. Okay, thank you. You have the right to remain silent, but if you choose to speak, nothing you say can be held against you at any other kind of proceeding. I can only consider it for purposes of detaining you, okay? You also have a right to an attorney, and your attorney, Mr. Willett, is on the Zoom screen. Do you see him?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so you're back as of June 20th. Let's see. DTA was issued on June 17th by Judge Kim. You were taken into custody on June 20th. And you're currently pending theft of property greater than 2,500, less than 30,000. DTA was issued for an EM violation and curfew violation on 6/17. You cut off your monitor. Tested positive for marijuana. And you came in and you came back. Also pending for theft from a person and aggravated robbery. You were released initially on March 27th, left the house without permission, and then allegedly committed a new offense on 4/7. We released you on the 23rd of April on the EM, and you violated it 3 days later. And then you were just released from detention on the EM on June 11th again. You cut it off on the 17th. You have a hearing set in front of Judge Porter on the 23rd of this month. Which is right after your next 10-day detention hearing if you were to stay. Is there a parent or guardian here for him? Someone on Zoom? I don't see anyone in the parent room.
There's no parent, Your Honor.
She's on Zoom, Your Honor. She hasn't. She needs.
Is it Happiness Rose?
Happiness Rose, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ma'am, can you turn your video on, please? It's kind of an order from our district judge that if you're going to be on the Zoom, we need to have your video on, and if you can't do that, you would have to appear in court.
How do I cut it on? I don't know why it's not on.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of device you have. So here's what I'm gonna do. I have zero faith that Mr. Killingsworth will stay home if he's sent home right now.
Oh my God.
I mean, he's got pending offenses. He's definitely shown us twice in the last few months that last 3 or 4 months that he's likely to abscond. And so your level 1 outstanding. Excuse me? Did you have something to say, Mr. Killingsworth? I forgot what I was saying because you were trying to talk over me. So, I mean, you have to understand that I have zero faith that you're not going to run off again because you keep showing us you're going to do it because that's what you're doing shortly after you're released every time. And you have pending offenses and a court date set July 23rd. So based on your past behavior, all I can assume is that if I were to release you on a monitor, we're going to have to come and find you again. And so because of that, I am going to order you detained. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. I thought that's what he said, but he doesn't get to decide when I'm done. Okay. Are you Mr. Cerna?
Yes.
All right. And, oh, there's Mr. Beaver. Okay. Right.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Okay, Mr. Cerna, this is your 10-day detention hearing, and the purpose of the detention hearing is to determine whether you should be released to a parent or guardian or whether I should keep you detained here at Kimbo. And do we have a parent or guardian present?
She's walking in, Your Honor.
Oh, looks like, okay, thank you. This is Grin. Yes. Okay. Are you mom?
Hola.
Okay, hi. And so, yes, Mr. Cerna, the purpose of this is to determine whether I'll release you to mom or I'll keep you here. You do have the right to remain silent, but if you do choose to speak at your detention hearing, nothing you say can be held against you at any other kind of proceeding here. I can only consider it for purposes of detention, okay? You have a right to an attorney, and your attorney, Mr. Beaver, is present on the Zoom screen. Do you see him?
No.
Mr. Beaver, if you actually speak up, your box will highlight, and then he can see you easier.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I thought that the movement would be better.
Do you see him now, Mr. Cerna?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. And so, and also your attorney, Mr. Beaver, will let me know if you want me to record at your hearing. All right. You were brought in on June 20th by Fort Worth PD for assault, bodily injury, and resisting arrest. Says the officers were dispatched to a domestic disturbance and upon arrival met with the victim, who advised that she told her son, Julio, that he is not to leave the house. So the victim's your mom. Says that you responded by pushing your mom, which caused her to fall and hit her knee on an air compressor. Officers went to arrest you. You were inside your room. When they attempted to put you under arrest, you tensed up and refused to be handcuffed. On the way to the patrol car, it says that you tried to knock the officers down by forcing your body backward, and then you were transported to JPD. Nothing's filed yet. It's been referred to the prosecutor. You tested negative for all substances. Okay. Supervisory caution for resisting back in December, which is about 7 months ago. And then also for possession of marijuana, 2 of those supervisory cautions. What's going on with them, Mom?
Your Honor, she speaks Spanish, so if you don't
Oh,
mind.
okay. Yeah, sure, Mr. Nava, thank you.
Señora Mares, el juez quiere saber qué anda pasando con Julio, qué ha pasado en las últimas 2 semanas.
¿Qué ha pasado? Perdón.
¿Qué ha pasado en las últimas 2 semanas entre usted y Julio?
Pues yo no he tenido comunicación con él en estas 2 semanas.
Mom said that she hasn't had any contact with Julio since he's been in detention.
Okay, well, what's going on at home before he came here? I mean, I guess my real question is, does he always push her physically? Is he physically pushing her around at home all the time?
Señor, el juez también quiere saber cómo es que se porta Julio en la casa antes de que la arrestaron. ¿Cómo se porta en la casa?
Julio se porta como violento.
Mom says that he would act violent towards the family.
Does he have a father at home or just mom?
Si tiene padre en la casa, lo más es usted.
¿Tiene padrastro?
He has a stepfather at home.
Does he come and go as he pleases, or does he obey her her curfew and her rules?
¿Sigue las reglas de la casa o se va de la casa sin permiso a veces?
A veces se va sin permiso y a veces pide permiso.
It says it's about 50-50. Sometimes he'll ask, sometimes he won't, and will leave regardless.
Judge Terry, may I speak with the mother for a moment, please?
Yes, Mr. Beaver, go ahead.
Okay. Señorita Mares, ¿qué es lo que usted quisiera que pasara hoy? ¿Quiere que Julio regrese a la casa o quiere que quede en el centro de detención? I asked, what is it that she would like to happen today? Does she want him to go home or does she want him to stay in the detention center?
Pues yo quisiera llevármelo a mi casa, pero yo no me quiero arriesgar a lo mismo.
So she'd like him to come home, but she doesn't want the same thing to happen.
And so that's up to, I mean, Julio, really, the fact that you think that you can push your mom around or anybody else in your family, and you also think that you can do the same thing to the police, like you're not respecting any kind of authority, and the person you should respect the most is your mother, especially as a young man. That's not the behavior of a real man. Do you know that? You're gonna be a real man pretty soon, but that kind of behavior is not the behavior of a real man. You should be serving her and obeying her and helping her in the home. And here she is crying, she wants you home. Your mom, no one's gonna love you like your mom does. You're making her come up here after you do this to her, and now she's got to come here and cry because she wants you home, but she's afraid that you're going to be just as disrespectful as you were before.
May I speak with Julio, please, Your Honor.
Sure, Mr. Beaver. Mhm.
All right, so Julio, what can you tell the judge this morning to convince her that you are going to follow your mother's instructions, that you are not going to leave the house without permission, and you are going to behave at home? Because if you don't convince the judge, then you're going to stay in the detention center.
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you want to go home?
Yeah.
So are you going to follow your mother's instructions?
Yeah. Yes.
She tells you to stay home, then you're going to do it, right?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Nava, what were his behavior levels before the 6th? Was that the first time he reached level 1, or had he been back and forth, or what?
He'd been fluctuating. Yeah, the first day he's been at level 1 3 times, but he was most recently at 2A. He wasn't wearing his mask, talking about fighting, and the day before is when he hit his lowest. 2U, it was slow to comply, and he also got a near physical altercation with the peer.
We've got one a few days ago talking about fighting.
Yes.
And the other one, a near physical altercation with a peer.
Yes. Other than that, before those days has been minor issues, talk without permission.
Right. Little stuff, but still, my concern is more his pattern of behavior with, his violent tendencies. That's his go-to when he doesn't get his way is talking about fighting or fighting.
And he's refused to make a phone call to his mother since he's been back there.
So he's disrespecting his mom, even from here. Julio, you're not going to win this fight, okay? Because right now I just want to keep you here for the next 2 weeks because you're disrespecting your mom, but that's not really a legal reason for me to keep you here. But so my guess is he's only been on level 1 outstanding at any given time for like a day or two, Mr. Nava?
That's correct.
Okay. So Mr. Cerna, the expectation here in order to consider you going home is level 1 outstanding. And sometimes when we have kids who, can't show us a good solid pattern of behavior being on level 1 outstanding, you get to stay longer so that we can trust that you're not a danger to others when you're released, okay? That's one of the things. I do think you are, just because of the reasons that you've been off of level 1 outstanding, that you are still, that's your first resort, is is lashing out physically. So you're on level 1 outstanding as of yesterday. Mom, if he's on level 1 outstanding on Friday, would you be able to come and get him Friday?
Dijo el juez, si él llega a nivel 1 hasta el viernes, ¿usted está disponible recogerlo? ¿Se lo deja ir el viernes?
Está bien.
Okay. All right. And so that's what I'm going to do, Mr. Cerna. And here's what else I'm going to do. It's ridiculous. I don't like wasting the resources on a monitor. But just because I don't see where you're running off and committing other offenses when you leave home. But I'm going to help your mom out. And it's not going to be her telling you what to do. It's me. So if you are level 1 outstanding on Friday, you may be released to mom, but you will be on a monitor. And the reason I'm doing that is because then it's really not up to mom if you can come and go. That's my call, okay? And so you cut that monitor off or you do something or violate that, and they're gonna let me know, and I'll probably just bring you back here and you'll stay longer. So you need to listen to mom, okay? And the fact that you're almost 15 and I've got to put an ankle monitor on you to make you listen to your mom is quite bothersome to me. But hopefully you won't be angry at her, okay? You can be angry at me, but don't be angry at her at home and start pushing on her because you have a monitor on, all right? So you keep the good behavior up on Friday until Friday. And you're saying he hasn't talked to his mother at all since he's been here?
That's according to the system. Every time that he's had an opportunity to call his mom, he's failed to do so.
Okay, here's what you're gonna do, Mr. Cerna. If you wanna go home, you're gonna have to call your mom every single day. You can call her and not say a word if you want to, but you're gonna make that call to her every day. You're gonna do it the next chance you get, and you're gonna do it Thursday, and you're gonna do it Friday. And then I also want you to stay on level 1 outstanding, okay? Because that is your mother, and the adults are in charge here, not you, okay? That's what we're gonna do. So level 1 outstanding until Friday. You can be released on a monitor, and you will call your mom every day between now and then. All right? Can you explain that to mom, Mr. Nava?
Señora Mares, el juez dijo sí lo va a dejar ir el viernes si él mantiene su nivel 1 hasta el viernes, pero también con la condición que le llame a usted cada día hasta el viernes por teléfono.
¿Yo le llamé a quién?
Oh, Julio, a usted.
Oh, okay.
Sí. Okay. Ask her if there's anything else that I can do for her, any other concerns she has.
Usted, señora, ¿usted tiene otra preocupación sobre Julio o algo más que le...
Es todo.
She said that's it, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Welcome.
May I be excused?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Bieber.
Thank you. Okay. All right, Mr. Youngblood, this is yours. Mr. White? Oh, I have to ask you to unmute. You just need to unmute yourself.
Who, me?
No, Mr. Youngblood.
Okay.
There you go. All right, Mr. White, this is your 10-day detention hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to determine whether you will be released to a parent or guardian, or if I will keep you detained. You have the right to remain silent, but if you choose to speak, nothing you say can be held against you at any other kind of proceeding. I can only consider it for detention purposes. Excuse me. And you also have a right to an attorney, and your attorney, Mr. Youngblood, is on the Zoom screen. Do you see him?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And so I actually just approved his, the agreed motion to extend his probation for another year.
Yes, ma'am. He's waiting for a bed. I think it's going to be available tomorrow.
Yes, that's what I was told also. 2 p.m. tomorrow. Is mom Erica here on the screen? Is that you, Mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm told that there's a bed available for him tomorrow at the Phoenix House in Dallas, and it'll be ready at 2 o'clock. Are you able to get him there at 2 o'clock tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Okay, and so here's what I want to do. My concern is this, just based on the history of his EM violations and DTAs, I don't want to release him to mom today. Okay? Because I'm concerned, Mr. White, I'm concerned you're going to run off. And I think you've given me reason to, believe that based on your history. And I want you to be able to get this bed that you've been waiting for. Okay? And so what I'll do is if the bed is ready tomorrow, Mom, we will release him to you tomorrow in time for you to get him there on time. Okay?
Okay.
Is that possible?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Would have been made for his mother to pick him up around noon tomorrow, so she'll have plenty of time to get him to Dallas.
That'd be perfect. And Mom, no stops anywhere, please. You know what? If you're concerned, he might be hungry, because moms want to feed our kids, right? So
right.
Whatever he wants. In fact, you know what, Mr. White, or Mom, you can offer him whatever you want. We can resolve that right now. Whatever he wants, if you want to feed him or whatever. If
what you want, baby?
Whatever.
Chicken Express.
Okay.
All right, so Mom's willing to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Chicken Express, please, Mom.
Chicken tenders.
Right, Mr. White?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So
Appreciate you.
that way she doesn't have to stop and risk you running off on the way to Dallas.
Right.
So if you can bring it here, he can eat in the car on the way there, fuel up before, whatever you got to do. But hopefully we can get a handle on him, okay?
Okay.
So, all right, so I'm gonna hold you, you're detained, you can be released to mom tomorrow, okay?
All right.
All right, thank you.
Love
Thank you,
you.
Your Honor.
I love y'all. I love you too, Mom.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I leave you, Mom.
Thank you all. I believe that does conclude our detention hearings for today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.